Good morning, sort of morning for somebody. My name is Josef. I'm here, the first Czech speaker, so if you excuse my English, I'll try to be as good as possible. I was supposed to be here in a speakers duo or couple, but unfortunately Lucia is ill, and I wish her all good to get better. So you'll have to survive with the uglier part of the duo. So I'll smile a lot to make up to you. Let me give you a bit of background for our law firm. And as I don't see your faces, I will not have any feedback from you, but if you wave, I know it's too much. But we started, or the law firm, not me, we started 30 years ago. And back in the 90s, the Czech law firms were pretty much all the same. They started in a traditional manner, a lot of books. That green lamp is pretty much in every second law firm until today. And we had all these traditional matters, how the law firm operates. You know, we've done this for always. We know this works. You know, I have the experience. I know what to do. And the money always comes because lawyers always make money. Well, I stopped working for some time. And we analyzed together with the rest of the partners what we should change and how we should react to the situation that the traditional old-time business no longer works. So we said, okay, what you cannot measure, you cannot improve. So we said, let's gather some data, some basic facts. And the purpose of my session today is to explain how easy it is to decide upon facts, not the feelings, and how it helped us to grow, to get better, to expand, have full-service law firm by now. And we've grown for the past 5 years, ever since we started these procedures. And I wanted to share this with you. So first, what you can measure, you can improve. And I'm glad Jaap mentioned that as well in his presentation. We also were used to a lot of emotional discussions, and everybody had an opinion about something. If you rely on data, it's no longer the case. So we said, let's focus on the data. We also know that some things work and some don't. So first of all, you need to analyze, then you have to implement, and then don't stop working. You have to implement and innovate constantly. So it's a constant circle, and we don't freeze at one spot. Then what we decided to do is to be very transparent. Traditionally, you know, it was everything, all the numbers were secrets. Don't show it to the junior associates because they don't need to know. You go to a client only being a partner and no juniors. Don't let them do the invoicing because that's what the partners do. So we said, let's be transparent. So a lot of our data is internally available to everybody. And we regularly present the data to our team so that they know where the firm stands, where are the goals, and how we're going to get there. I love ICT, and I'm one of the co-authors of a lot of things that I will talk about today. And I would love to have a mega budget on ICT and spend a lot of money on ICT tools and have a great data throughout the firm. But it must not be limitless spending. It's not about the data, it's about the business, but the data should help you with the business. So you have to be rational, what to digitalize, what kind of data to work with, and be smart when you want to be a slave of the ICT. And the last point is, we figured out that a lot of law firms live day to day. They don't care about the money because they think they'll always make some money, so they don't have to do a long-term planning. So we changed this. We have a 4-year span in which we forecast where the law firm wants to get. We have an annual planning, we have a quarterly planning, and we know and we want to be predictable to have a long-term sustainable business. And that saves a lot of effort, it saves a lot of people's energy, because we know how many people we need to get to the target we have, what's their workload throughout the week, throughout the month, throughout the year, and we can foresee if we need to hire somebody or fire somebody to make it balanced. What are the basic sources of data? And these are just elementary systems that you all probably have, even the in-house team has it, and that you can utilize to get a better, clear view of the facts. and decide based on these facts. So elementary is the case management system. I guess everybody has it. In our case, it was the single case. As you can see, the logo down there. I'm just presenting our experience with the system because we chose it 3 years ago, and now we can evaluate what's the added value of the system. Then you need to have a good ERP, economic system, accounting system, where the numbers usually are, and you have to have them connected. That's crucial. Another system which is good is document management or automation systems. They're a good source of data that can be evaluated and that can be connected with the data from the case management system. They have to be integrated again. And then you have the collab tools. Everybody works with Office 365 or of Google, etc. So, 2 years ago nobody knew it. This year everybody uses Office. And Office, as Deloitte presentation previously mentioned, that's a great tool that can be evaluated and expanded. And everybody uses it for emails and Teams and calendar. But there's so much more, and depending on what level of license you have, go ahead and explore. And of course, the attendance systems for being present in the office is something we use very frequently. So that's the source, and now how to look at the data. Because when you analyze, you can gather a bunch of data that nobody can read, nobody can understand, nobody can find. So first you have to organize it. We have some sort of a landing page, a home page that comes up every time you open an Internet Explorer or Chrome or Safari. Then you have the case management system dashboard, which is a flexible page that you can organize different parts of the home page to give you the data you need to see at the right from the very start, and I'll show you that later on. Then what we have is a reporting tool, because what we create is a storage of data, and then you need to have a system that can help you pull out the data in a form you want and present it in a form everybody understands. So we acquired, or we bought a system that is helping us creating all these reports and charts and graphs and data sets. And then you have the difficult part is the UX, the user experience. We have 115 people as of right now, and pretty much everybody is in some form using the data we're gathering. So we need them to make it quick. The more complex it is, the more time it takes to calculate. So we fought a little with the speed of the system, but after some changes, the UX and speed is the most crucial part. If it's taking a long time and nobody understands, nobody uses it, it's useless. And last, not least, think of a long term with the data. It's great to analyze data at one moment, but if you change anything, it can change things for the future and for the past. So depending on the structure of your data, think about long-term and archiving purposes. So if you change something next year, it will devolve the value of the data from the past. And that's something you need to really think very closely. What are the absolute essentials if you want to use it? You need to know very well what's your budget and have it structured and have it spread over the year, and you need to know when comes what kind of an invoice. You need to know the capacity of your team very well, and you have to know your people and their skills and their abilities and their historical data. And you need to have a case management system connected with ERP so it makes sense to present the data together. Now, the easy part from the very beginning was when we chose single case, we had a simple task. We motivated the supplier to help us and to share the success or share the benefits of the system with us. So we had a KPI saying, let's measure how many hours an average lawyer is billing for a month. We actually had its time span of 6 months. And let's measure this for next 6 months after implementation. And if single case helps to increase the average billable hours, single case will get a share of the profit. So we said, let's start with the easiest part. How quickly can you do the timesheets? Because that's something people hate. Everybody hates timesheets. It's time consuming. You have to write something, go into the calendar, think what you've done. So we said, how we do it as quick as possible. We took a stopwatch and we measured different systems when we were choosing, and we came to and chose a system that was the quickest to save a regular timesheet. We have multiple places where you can timesheet. We have suggestions. We have simplified the amount of data, and we use, I wouldn't call that artificial intelligence, it's a smart suggestions for the text of the billing. We deleted some parts of the timesheets because we found out they're obsolete, and we're deleting more of them even now. So ask your clients if they really need to have all the data on the invoice, because previously you put so much stuff onto the invoice that had to be part of the timesheet. And after analysis, we said, okay, let's delete 2/3 of it. So it's more quick, it's predicting what you want to write. So we cut down the time, and what we do and what we're able to do, and we found out is, if you measure the time span between when the lawyer actually produced that task and when he timesheeted, the longer the time span is, the less accurate the billing is. So the clients are returning the invoices, or the lawyers don't bill everything they've done. So we are measuring and we're reporting what's the time span between when you do it and when you bill it, to push it to a shorter time, optimally to do it right away as soon as they finish the task. What we know is lawyers want to be certain or want to know how much effort they will have to do during the month. So we have an easy place where they can timesheet. They have 3 or 4 places, simple click places, how to set up a timesheet. They know what's their capacity for the next week, and they know how much they have to work until the end of the month to be on target. We even considered putting numbers there and remuneration, saying if you're this far to get a bonus, and the bonus will be that much money. We deleted that because for some it worked, some were sad they didn't get to the bonus. So this is just the way how to motivate and plan so that we don't get people over, or if they're not overcapacitated. And we have an overview over the team, how many people are free and how much of the time they have free. Obviously, another part that I love, but some of us hate, that's why I put the love-hate relationship, is the invoicing. I love it because that's the nicest time of the month where I hope the clients will pay me and I will have money to pay the lawyers. Some of that consider this quite a time-consuming, ugly, you have to rewrite the text and verify and put a discount on the invoice, etc. So we said, let's make it as quick as possible. And the first part, we want the lawyers to know, or the invoicing partners, invoicing lawyers, to know exactly what's the mathematics, what's the economics of the case. For that, you have to integrate with the economic system. You have to have the numbers all in one place. You have to have some sort of exact budgeting to know what's the internal costs you have to calculate. You have to have a good processes so that all the outside or external costs are presented properly in the system. There are a lot of different invoicing schemes, so some of the lawyers say, oh, this doesn't work for me, I have to do it by hand. Can you print it out for me? I'll do it by hand because it's too complicated. The system cannot work with it. So we adjusted the system in a way that it enables to invoice in all different forms of invoicing schemes. And another data that we analyze is how quickly you issue an invoice, because we've done a cash flow analysis, and every day counts. So we push people towards the beginning of the month, and we have an exact data, how many invoices are there remaining to be issued, and who is the lazy guy. This is the dashboard that helps the invoicing partners and lawyers to know exactly how well we've done. And we don't want to be surprised by the end of the fiscal year if there is any profit. We want to be 70-80% certain about how the year ends. So we say every invoice you issue, you need to know if we are even making money. There are a lot of cases that go wrong, and you estimate the effort wrongly, and you have to invoice less than are the internal costs. So we want to know at the moment of issuing what's the actual hourly rate, the real hourly rate. Because sometimes you have to sell or non-invoice some of the hours. That devolves the hourly rate, the nominal hourly rate. So we measure the real hourly rate. We measure what's the utilization of the team, who is utilized of the team, who's not, what are the resale rates, etc. So based on this, we're able to predict the result of the case when it's closed. Usually, I don't know how you've done it, if there are law firms, those 90s law firms, you would print out an Excel sheet, do it by a pencil, and rewrite the numbers and give it to your assistant to issue the invoice. Now we have everything. We try to create a system that even a lawyer can prepare the invoice in a way he's happy to and doesn't have to utilize a printer, Excel sheet, and a pencil. So we have these interfaces that you can very flexibly decide what is invoiced, what is for free, what will be deleted from the invoice, and to make it as simple as possible for them to do. Obviously, we have a lot of reports so that we know how the year ends. So we know what's the profit, what's the, we call that a netto work without all the notary fees and external fees. And we can drill down to a single case, to a single individual case, to desk, to specialization, whole firm, by month, by week, for a full year. I know you're here, you're 2 meters tall, and I'll be quick.
Hand. I just want to see it firsthand.
Okay. So what we do is, for the fiscal year planning, as of right now, we're able to foresee 73% of our business for next fiscal year. We managed 99.9% accurateness of our predictions for last year. And we've overachieved the profit in 109% over what we budgeted for last year. So our aim is to have a predictable business for the future, to know what's in 1 year, in 2 years, in 3 years, not to be surprised by sickness or by team members' accident, etc. So if you do, you can watch Active Time in the case management system that helps you to know how many people work actually in the system, how many work out of the system, who is in the field, who is in the back office, to structure the seats in the office, for example. That's what we use for office presence, for hot desking, as we're abolishing fixed seats for the new offices, because we find out that people don't really use their offices anymore. So that's something I wanted to share with you. Just to wrap up, always define the problems to solve. It's always easy to analyze and implement everything and then figure out it's wrong. So analyze the purposes, evaluate the cost and effort versus benefit. IT is very expensive. It will not get any cheaper, but you have to always mathematically evaluate if it brings you the benefits or you just spend the money. Choose the right tools and integrate. Integrate is the thing that helps much, because you need to do things just once. Okay. Yeah. And then last thing is, please have documentation to be continuous. Don't do it just for today. You do it for the future, and you have to be able to look back to verify. Thanks a lot. Sorry for being long.